Alrighty. Hello, welcome to Thursday with Wendler. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit until I get a couple thumbs up from anyone that is watching. So just let me know, and we will start the Q's and A's. Oh my God. I already did all my rehab. I got training some kids later on today in the garage. It's getting spicy in there. This week hasn't been as bad. So just let me know, anyone, if you can hear me or see me. I'm just going to play some drums. Super exciting here, right? David, I appreciate you saying Boss Wendler. I saw someone else said boss in here. Looking good, boss. One of the kids on the football team the other day is like, looking good, Coach Wendler. Looking great. Looking sharp today. He's big old shit. He didn't smile on his face, which probably means I look like crap. I appreciate the shit talking, though. I appreciate it. We have, the London football team has our big 4th of July parade tomorrow. So we will be, no prowler tomorrow. So it gets the kids out of prowler work. But I don't know. No one likes the prowler. Let's just put it that way. After a while, it just starts sucking. It sounds good when you do it, and then it just stinks. So let's just see here. Man, has it really been 2 minutes? Come on, no one's watching. Come on, send me a thumbs up, brosteens. We're doing something different today with one of the kids I trained. We're going to do the Krypteia program, or Krypteia program, using chin-ups as the main lift. And we'll be wearing a weight vest the entire time. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to do this. So we will find out. But again, if anyone can see me or hear me, please send me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. There we go, Brandon. Muchos apreciados. Okay, here we go. Let's start this. Again, if you have a question, please ask in the chat if you're watching this in a live format. If you do have another question, feel free to ask in the comment section, or we've done a couple where you can send a question to wendlerstore@gmail.com, and my wife will send it over to me and I'll just read it on air, that kind of thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. Vincent, you're here. I got to talk to you a little bit about something about my rehab training. It's fairly interesting. All right, here we go. Taylor Ham says, now Taylor's got a couple questions here, or at least quite a few statements, and then we'll get into this. So he says, hey, Jim, I haven't been here in a bit. That's not a problem, Taylor. I know what you've been doing. So he writes, so far I've been down 35 pounds in 3 months. I've been running and doing the Krypteia Redux. I'm preparing to go back to the Army. So he want to simplify my training. I'm looking at doing the original Krypteia due to its simple programming and focused on specific assistance, which is good for his Army prep. Okay. However, running and sleds are a must. Sleds are not part of the PT test, and obviously running and rucking because of the Army, right? So for 2 and 3. Okay, so here's a couple things, Albert. When you're running this, 100% agree with ditching the FSL work for the squat and deadlift for the sets of 10 and just doing sets of 5. 100%. Okay. The bench, you'll do sets of 10. I'll be honest with you, if your volume on the assistance work for the squat and deadlift is super high and you're pushing, no reason you can't do sets of 5 on the bench and still push the lower body assistance on the bench day. I hope that makes sense, but there's no reason you can't do that either. In fact, if I were you, Taylor, I would auto-regulate that. Some days, if you feel good, go ahead and do sets of 10. If not, go ahead and drop down to sets of 10, sets of 8, sets of 5, whatever. So be smart about that. You go ahead and use the overhead press. That's fine. I see what you're saying on a 3-day-a-week schedule. So we'll do like a 9-day, 100%. I know this is just specifically for Taylor guys, so I know this is confusing. All right. Okay, so here's the thing. As the day approaches for shipping out, the running will include sprints and longer endurance, and I'll probably drop to the Krypteia 2 days a week with a higher and harder conditioning. Okay, so the only thing I will say, Taylor, is you, depending on how the running is going, I would probably drop the 2 days a week lifting and then do a little more conditioning. I would probably drop, if your running's not exactly where you need it to be, I would drop it quicker. However, that doesn't mean you train on those 2 days like super hard. Be smart about that and be smart about the running so that you don't get shin splints. I will say it has been my experience, whether it's listening to people talk about going to selection or in my personal experience with with upcoming football season, the most important thing, the most important ability, as they say, is availability. So do not get injured. Do not do something stupid. I'd rather have your body feeling good when you go in. And I'm not sure exactly what if you're gonna go right to basic or anything like that or something. I'm not sure. You're better off feeling good than feeling run down, because once you go either into, I don't know if it's basic or selection or what you're doing. You're better off going in feeling good than completely run down, because you will never dig yourself out of that hole ever for how long all that stuff is going on. So please remember that, okay? So be smart about that. Don't run yourself into the ground, and don't try to like cram the final 3 or 4 weeks. Keep on doing what you're doing. It looks like you've taken a long-term plan, and I think that's great. So just be smart about that. Don't run yourself into the ground. All right, here we go. Albert Wang writes, can I use a 5s Pro instead of 531 on main lifts for boring but strong? Yes. In fact, I would recommend that. I did that in, I believe, the Forever book, but yes. When the when the supplemental is very high, we try to lower the, I don't want to say the intensity, but like the effort and the stress, there you go, of the main lift. So when the boring but big or boring but strong, when the supplemental rises, we lower the main lift a little bit. And then when you can just vary that stuff. All right, that's exactly what programming or planning works. So yes, you are good to go. All right, here we go. Zafrikan Basic. Man, I'm sure I butchered that name. Whew. He says, hello, coach. All right, hello. Do you think I should buy a barbell? I've got 3 types of kettlebells, 53, 63, and 70. Adjustable dumbbells, 11 to 88 pounds. Okay, so you got adjustable dumbbells that go 11 to 88. Okay. Double chin-up bar. Not sure what that is, but whatever. So you have a chin-up bar, a wheel, I assume an ab wheel, weight vest, and 455 pounds in bench. All right, so this is the thing. I'm going to tell you, I'm not in the business of saying you have to buy this or you have to buy that, because everyone's got financial shit. I was just reading this, or I'm reminded of the days when, in college, and then my first couple years out of college, just how strapped for cash I was. And I totally empathize with that. Okay, empathize with that. However, if you want to do barbell stuff and you want to squat, bench, deadlift, press, all that stuff, of course, I think you should buy a barbell. I think it's been I always say this, it's always better to buy nice, don't buy twice, meaning save your money and buy a quality bar as long as you can afford it. And if that means you got to save, for a year, go ahead and do it, because that barbell will last you a lifetime. Probably, I have my weight room in here. I've got a bunch of barbells. Those things, once I'm long gone, someone will be able to use those. So just understand that. If you want to use it, of course you can. But if not, you've got a pretty good setup. You got a weight vest, you got some kettlebells, you got your chin-up bar. You should be good to go. So, but yeah, if that's where the direction you want to take, go ahead, man. Let it rip. Woo. All right, here we go. D. Bajur. We'll pretend your name is Dave. So, okay, so your name is Dave. All right, he says, getting arm and bicep pain with squats. Oh, yeah. I have the Rogue Buffalo Bar C4 bar. So just a Buffalo bar, I assume. And still get pain when using, maybe a little less than a regular bar. I can't get my hands wide enough in my squat rack. Totally understand that. Would be helpful to use it on a monolift, which I don't have, or buy a monolift attachment. Should I rotate safety squat bar 1 week and this bar the next, meaning the Buffalo bar, or do an entire cycle with the safety squat bar, use the Buffalo bar once a month? And then goes on and says he uses the safety squat bar quite a bit, but when he goes to compete, and obviously safety squat bar makes the regular bar feel odd. And then writes, I know I need to work on mobility as well. And we'll do that, wondering if you have any other tips. Okay, so here we go. This is what I would recommend. First of all, you mentioned mobility. Listen, it's not just your shoulder mobility, I guarantee you. As someone who has worked through injuries and stuff like that, everything is linked. So it's not just, doing some pec stretches and, taking a broom or something and doing this stuff. You're going to have to work on a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know what that is, but it's not just right here. It could be even your hips. It could be your psoas. Like everything is connected. Okay. I know I'm not telling you something you don't already know, but that needs to be addressed. Number 2, with that still in mind, doing it once a day or once every other day or before you squat is not going to be enough. All right. It has been my experience, as long as the exercises you're doing aren't super stressful and hurt or whatever, 2 to 3 times a day. Okay. Because you need to get that problem, because that is going to be an issue the rest of your life. Trust me. So that's the first part, is working on mobility. Now, let's just say in the meantime, there's a couple things you can do. Is one, I would probably try to keep on using the Buffalo bar, but this is what I would do. I would keep the volume incredibly low, work up to 1 set, even if it's for 1 to 5 reps, and then any kind of volume work you do, use the safety squat bar. Okay. But I would keep the reps on the Buffalo bar or straight bar. No, I probably wouldn't do more than 3 reps. All right, so that'd be my first thing. Any volume work you do on the squat, I would 100% use the safety squat bar. All right. I don't think, like you mentioned, that you can use a safety squat bar exclusively. But I think the every other week would probably be a thing, and then keep the volume low. The other thing, let me see if there's anything else. This is going to be a horrible demonstration. The one thing, now this is not going to, this is just a Band-Aid. I'll use this pen, as you can see. So here's my hand, like I'm squatting, right? I always use this grip. John Bott taught me this. So you're right here, right? We're squatting. So the one thing that he always did was he tucked his pinky underneath. And so it was like this. Makes a huge difference. And I always took a false grip on the barbell. But I always, when my shoulders were really bad, or you get the bicep tendonitis and stuff, keeping that bar between the ring finger and the pinky has made a difference, a big difference. The other thing that you could do too, I don't know, like when you say compete for powerlifting, hopefully they use an 8-foot bar, which might help you too. I don't know. I don't even know what people use with powerlifting anymore, but that might be something that might help you out quite a bit if wherever you're competing, they use like a Texas squat bar or something similar. So, but number one thing, Dave Bajer, you're French, got to get that mobility, and it's got to be a priority. It will help you more than you'll ever know. And it will take what is a stressful problem and just completely eliminate it, and then allow you to actually just get work done. And that's what's most important. So, Andy Lynn says, Good morning, boss. Another day of, and this would be yesterday's work, of doing good reps on the main movement and push hard and assistance. Do something that includes strength, speed, mobility, conditioning. That's good. That's good. I'm going to make sure this people understand. When we have a good, just solid workout, the workout's still hard. It's not like we're just going through the motions, but we're not, sniffing ammonia and smashing our head all the time on the bar and taking million sets to failure on all that stuff. So just understand, we're still working hard. It's just not bananas all the time. That's what we always try to preach. Even when I'm training people in my garage and those kids are super highly motivated, we still work very, very hard, but I always make sure that they're not killing themselves. And so you can always look at bar speed and there's a whole bunch of other things, just how they feel, how they look, how they're performing. So just understand that. So yes, I just want people to say when we just have like a good workout, it's still a hard workout. It's just not dumb. Vincent writes, I just finished my humid as hell, brutal uphill ruck. Took a cold shower to cool off, but probably subconsciously because I knew I'd be seeing you. Vincent, you are one hot motherfucker. Look at you. Did you let that cold water glisten off your hard nipples? Alessandro says, hello, Jim. I want to focus on bodyweight work alongside the main lifts to reach your 10-minute standards and forever. Okay, what is the best way to do it? Bodyweight, walrus as assistance. Yes, I think in general, that's probably the best way to do it. It's the simplest way to do it. The one thing I always tell people is when you're doing that style of training, especially with the lower body part of the walrus work, be sure to use a wide variety of movements. So you can use squat, lunges, step-ups, single leg squats, sled work, prowler, kettlebell stuff. So make sure you use a wide variety of stuff. And then also, even if you want to do body weight stuff, don't be afraid to add in weighted chin-ups with using a dip belt. So every round you use whatever weight that you want. A lot of times I'll start with just wearing my 20-pound vest. If I'm doing 10 rounds, the first 3 to 4 will be just the vest. And I'll start adding some weight for singles and doubles and triples and stuff like that for the final sets. So don't be afraid to add some of that or to change how you do something. As an example, when we do dips, sometimes we'll do dips with like a 2 to 3 or 5 second hold at the top of each rep. We'll do the same thing with push-ups. We'll use a band, chains. If you're working out with a partner for the push-ups, you can put a plate on your back if you don't have a weight vest. So don't be afraid to change things up. And as long as you're doing something, it doesn't have to be super well planned. If you feel good on the pull-ups, man, say screw it. I'm going to go ahead and do some weighted stuff. If you had weighted shit planned and you don't feel good, just can it. Not a big deal. The most important thing is you're getting the solid work in and that you are consistent. So Vincent says, hey, get healthy so we can get a good challenge on the calendar. I know, buddy. It's been tough, man. Whew. I was actually feeling really good yesterday, I'll be honest. And then today, like absolute dog shit. So I had a little setback. I still did all my stuff today. But yeah, it's as much a mental strain as it is a physical strain. I will say that. Pepper says, hey, Jim, you gave me some advice on programming front squats a few days ago. I just wanted to say thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. The only thing I always say with the front squats, and I'm sure anyone who's done any amount of quality front squatting knows this, they don't lend themselves to higher reps. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but in general, they don't lend themselves to reps like you normally would do on a back squat. So just remember that the upper back fatigue, and you guys know the shoulders and all that stuff, the arms start giving out well before the legs do on sometimes. So just understand that. B Slump says, hey boss, a few days ago you posted a comment saying you're eating low carb due to some back pain. Kind of. Do you have advice around exercising on low carbs, or do you eat carbs strategically, or does it Does it not matter? All right, so first of all, I'm not, I still have carbs. I just cut most of my carbs during the day. If I want to have something at night, I have something at night. Not a big deal. So it's not exactly that, but I try to eat, try to cut out the sugars and all that other stuff, just like most people should, right? So that's number one. Number two, I've never really had a problem with exercising with low carbs because when I started doing this, I am not doing heavy barbell stuff. So I never had an issue doing like stairs or, all the weight vest and prowler stuff. It never affected me. I don't know why. Maybe it did because all that stuff just starts to suck anyway. So I don't know if it really matters if you're going to be honest. I would not do low carbs unless you have to, unless there's something that some kind of autoimmune thing or whatever it is. I probably wouldn't advise it. I think it's kind of a pain in the ass. And it's a sacrifice, man. Now, if you need to make it, too bad. Go ahead and do it. Not a big deal. And I would probably play around with the carbs. I think in general, people overestimate how much carbs they need to eat. They think like a 45-minute, lifting workout, you need 500 grams of carbs. That's not really the case. So I think mentally that might screw some people up. But if you do need them, I don't know when most people like, 45 minutes or something or whatever it is before their training. I don't know. I could never eat that close to training. That's just me, especially when I was lifting. Oh, it would feel horrible. So the other thing too, I will say this is, and this is kind of the mental side of things. If, let's just say, for example, you got to go low carb, man, just fucking tough it out. I think people get really weird about that. As an example, they'll have one bad workout and they'll have to change everything. Just like yesterday, I felt amazing. I set some rehab PRs, kicking ass. Today, did not feel very good. When I woke up and went over to did all my rehab, that doesn't mean I just change everything. And it's like, oh, I got to throw everything out. It's a long-term plan. And so I think a lot of times people psych themselves out, if they have a wrinkle in their training that's a little bit different. To me, I would look at it like, man, this is a fucking challenge. I'm going to step up. I'm not going to let it bother me. Now, obviously, there's going to be some consequences, but that mental kind of games you have to play, I think, are much more important than people will ever realize. So if I was you, B-Slump, and you had to do it, make it a challenge to be more awesome than carbs are. That's what I would probably do. And I don't know. Maybe I just never really thought about it because I'll be honest, I never thought about that stuff. It might be just because I'm doing all the volume stuff on the weight vest and body weight stuff and the stairs and the prowler, but I never found it to be that big of a deal. But I think part of it is because I never made it a big deal. So that's just my my shitty opinion. I don't know. Just don't let it be an issue. It won't be an issue. There you go. Brian, and I should probably say this too. Someone asked about this. The lower than the carbs and stuff like that is not going to fix back pain. It may make it feel a little bit better when you bring inflammation down. But if you've got an injury or back, you're going to have to strengthen that area and you're going to have to rehab it. That is a short-term solution to a long-term problem, and it's not going to help you. It may help for a little bit, and then you're just going to be in that cycle of injury forever. So just understand that. All right, here we go. Brian Dunlap says, I'm only lifting when on duty at the fire station. 1 day on, 2 days off. Okay. Should I attempt to make it a total body or follow like the regular 5 through 1? Okay. And still deload, can I do a higher training max since there's more rest? All right. So let's address that last question. 1000% no. The training max has to be solid. You can't just go up. It doesn't make any sense. You're not going to make yourself any stronger that way. All right. So that one is no. Still deload. If you have to, I would go ahead and do it. As always, guys, you should deload before you need the deload. If you're already feeling run down, you need to deload, it's too late. So be smart about that. Now, here's the thing. Should I make it total body or follow 5 through 1 as is? Listen, I don't think it matters that much, meaning one is not massively superior to the other, especially in your situation. You're older. I'm going to say this, do the main lift, make sure your training max is awesome. If you've got a wild hair up your ass and you want to do a total body or full body assistance, go ahead and do it. If you don't want to do it, just do whatever you want to do. All right. Let that assistance be a little more open. All right. I know a lot of people want to write everything down, and that's fine. I totally get it. But man, if you've got bench day or something and you're benching and one of your buddies is in there and like, dude, let's do some this, and this, something kind of ridiculous, and it's going to get you fired up and everyone's going to be training and doing awesome stuff, go ahead and do it. Have some fun. Don't get so rigid where I have to do this. Get that main lift in. Make sure the training max allows you to have great days, even if you have a bad day. Right? That's super simple to know. And then be creative and have some fun with the assistance. It doesn't have to be 1,000% mapped out. I've said, like when I train the kids in the garage or at the high school, I always have a plan. I always go in. If something throws a wrench in there, or if the kid's like, hey, can we do this? Or like or I notice the kids are really amped up to do something, we're just going to do it. We'll keep the main lift. We're going to be great with that. And then if we want to do something stupid, we're going to go ahead and do it. It's not a big deal because we are consistent. We do things with effort, and our training max is never, ever stupid. I can't overestimate how important that is to have a good training max. Okay. I always lose my place. Son of a bitch. All right, here we go. David, PM, says, boss, I've been rucking for a few months with 10 kilograms in my pack, about 10% of my body weight, and I feel good. Should I increase it a bit, or should that be the maximum? Thanks. All right, so I don't know how old you are and what your body situation is, but there's a couple things here. One is you say, quote, I feel good. All right, that's supposed to happen. You're supposed to feel good. Not every workout has to feel like dog shit, okay? And your body shouldn't be beat up. So that's number one. So it says, should I increase it a bit, or should that be the maximum? If I were you, I would use 10 kilograms or 22 pounds. That would be my base. I would probably do that 80 to 95% of the time, somewhere in there. Now, if you want to try like 45 pounds or something, or I'm just making up a number, let's just say, so 20 kilograms, go ahead and do it. But I would not make that my everyday weight. I would not do it terribly frequently either. I'd be smart about it because I'm sure you'll know when you I don't know, let's say you're going, 4 or 5 miles with the 45 pounds, 20 kilograms, you're going to feel it the next day. All right. And that's supposed to happen, but just keep on stacking those 10 kilogram days over and over again. It will prepare your body for those heavier rucks, not just because you're carrying 10 kilograms. It's because your body feels great. All right, that you have to understand that. And so I'll give you an example. When I prepare for a challenge, let's say like one of the challenges was walk 100 rows of stairs. All right, that is 4,000 steps. Okay, so I didn't go from 1 week I did 20 and then 30 the next, and 40 and then 50 and then 60 and then 70 then 80. All right, if I would have done that, by the time I got to 100, my body would be broke down. All right, what I did was I would have a daily minimum, and that was 30. And occasionally, every so often, I would do 50. And as long as I was able to keep a good pace with the 50, I was fine. So when I went and did the 100, I was in great shape. I just grinded through, especially the last 30 or so. I actually got my second wind and completed the last 30 quicker than I did the first 30. But the point being is you don't have to incrementally progressive overload to something. All right, so what I'm trying to say is even if you want to try, as an example, a 30 kilogram challenge, you don't need to make your daily minimum the 20 kilogram. You could still use the 10 kilogram, get your body stronger. We call that sub-max training, so to speak, and get your body feeling good so that when you do put it on, you'll be able to handle it. All right, so that's a long-winded question to say you can try it occasionally, but don't make it a habit. There you go. The washed athlete says, hey, Jim, I strained my IT band jumping 2 weeks ago. I was wondering if you've had any experience with rehabbing injuries like that. Already lifting and doing light plyos now. Okay, so any IT band pain that I've had was not an IT band strain. It was a result of something else with some nerve and back issues. So I don't know enough about that. And you're already lifting and doing light plyos. It sounds like you're good to go. The only thing is don't be so quick to jump in, no pun intended, to getting back to where you are. Make sure you, what I call front load the rehab. So as an example, let's say you have a shoulder surgery and there's like 6 weeks of rehab. In my mind, I'm doing 12 weeks of rehab, so I don't ever have to have a re-injury and then I go back at square one. So I'm always extending, front loading, as I say, the rehab, making sure everything is solid and not trying to get right back to where I was. So that's my only like big picture analysis of an injury. All right. But good luck, man. You're already lifting and doing like jumps and stuff. You're gonna be fine. Just don't be doing what you did 1 week after the injury. All right, or 2 weeks, I should say. Tim says, hey, good morning, Jim. Good morning, Tim. What, in your opinion, is the fastest way to build strength? Is it using an 80% training max and doing sets of 5, 10, and 15 on your top set? Like, I'm not sure what that's 5 through 1, or would it be, hold on, let me see what else you wrote here. The powerlifting template where you go to 80% for sets of singles and 90. Okay. Where am I? I'm sorry, Tim. All right, I don't really have an opinion on the fastest way to build strength because I don't think that's going to be long lasting, and it's just not something I've ever really had to do because when I started training, it was just training, and so when I did get stronger, I had a huge base of general physical preparedness. I will say this: when we've stacked tons of sub-max days over and over again, we always end up getting stronger than if we kind of like built up and built up and built up. Because again, just like the ruck example, we were always feeling good and always feeling fresh. Now, occasionally we would work up, and I see this especially in the squat and the deadlift. With the population that I train, the harder that we push trying to add weight, the less strong we get. If we're just doing solid reps and just stacking those days upon days, we are good to go. And if I give a kid, let's say he did, how do I put this? We have something like 15 kids whose training maxes or at the trap bar, their training weights go from 245, 225, 245, and 265. Those are the 3 weights that they do. Okay. If I can get to the point where when I look at them, I know that every rep is absolutely insane and they can do sets of 15 at that top set and everything is solid. If we do that for 6 to 12 weeks, I've never had a kid not deadlift 345 for at least 5 to usually around 10 to 15 reps. All right, so it's been my experience to answer your question that using a solid training max and making sure that bar speed is good and then raising the assistance is the best way to get stronger, mostly because you're not worn the fuck out and you're not mentally just getting crushed week after week. All right, and you can always have a good workout. So if something's a little off, we'll be fine. We'll just do the minimum and then push the assistance a little bit and get out. But that's been my experience. But again, I am not a big fan. One of the reasons I believe we're so good at London High School with the football team and our strength and conditioning is because we do it consistently. We take a long-term approach. To me, strength, again, this is something that's been coming up over and over again, is strength is a long-term problem, so to speak. There's no short-term solutions to get stronger. I'm sorry, it's just not how it is. Unless you're genetically gifted, I think that's the wrong approach, I'll be honest. But if I had to pick, it would be 80%, and we're just building that wide base of general physical preparation, and we will be awesome. So, There we go. Dave says, thank you for the tips. Dave had the, the immobile shoulders. He had all that elbow pain. And Dave, I don't know that's your name, Dave, but that's what it is to me. Dave Bajer, I have been there, man. You got to take care of those elbows and that bicep tendonitis. So just so you know. All right, here we go. All right, is it a good idea, this is B-Slump, to run Krypteia with Widowmakers instead of FSL and both assistance exercises between each main lift? Is this sane or am I completely missing the point? You can do that, but I would not make that a habit. So that would just be me. I have a system that I work with kids when I do one-on-one stuff with Krypteia style training. It allows for a tremendous amount of variety, the way that I do it, and allows for a tremendous amount of auto-regulation too, which, again, if they wanted to do that, that's fine, but I would not make that a habit. There you go. Andy Lynn says, sometimes in a session, I might add on more weight, but then it kills my assistance. Less sets on chins or sit-ups, for example. Should I just not add that much on main? All right, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking here. It kills your assistance. Why would doing a couple extra sets kill your assistance, Andy? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. You should be fine. If the bar speed and technique, as you mentioned here, is fine, we work up occasionally when I'm working with someone. It does not change the assistance at all. In fact, when we do Krypteia, it actually increases their assistance. So I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. So Andy, I apologize if you could clarify that. I don't know why, if you worked up a little bit, why it would kill your assistance. So just let me know, especially for like chin-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that. It's not like supplemental. So, all right, here's Vincent. My buddy Vincent says, hey, we need to catch up soon. I know. I suck, dude. Says, I'll give a rehab update. All right. I have been having incredible success using 30-second isometric holds. With rehab versus full range movement, the squeeze is only about 70 to 80%. Vincent, when I talk to you, you're going to be blown away at what I'm doing. You're going to laugh your ass off. So I'll just say that. I'm in the same basic boat as you. So John Watt writes, hey, Jim, I'm a big fan of your bodybuild the upper, athlete the lower philosophy. That's what I do with the kids. What do you recommend sets and reps and exercises? I'm not sure what you're asking here. It would depend greatly on who you are, what you're doing, how you train. As an example, when we do, again, we keep the volume fairly low on the squat and deadlift. We still will push that final set, but we do not do a ton of lower body assistance work other than some ab work. So I'm not sure that's what you're asking. We will do some dumbbell squatting, but we still push those sets hard. I expect perfect technique, and we just do a lot of upper body assistance work. So we'll pick 2 to 3 non-negotiables each session that will be upper body related, some kind of push and pull. That could be chin-ups, barbell curls, a lot of rowing, a lot of pull-ups. We do a ton of pull-ups. And then pushing would be obviously, push-ups, dips, any kind of dumbbell stuff, overhead press and stuff like that. With the sets and reps, those are always up to the kids, but we generally do, maybe 3 to 5 sets of each exercise, and we I try to get those kids to go close to failure. Again, this might not be appropriate for you, but we try to push those sets incredibly hard because, again, they're young athletes. Even when they push to failure, it's not really failure. So I'm not exactly sure what you're at. The question's very open-ended. It would, like, how I train one of the kids in the garage is vastly different than how I train James, for example. It's widely different because he's not at the same level. He doesn't have that same doesn't know how to give the effort. So it will change greatly. But basically, we just do a ton of assistance work on the upper body 2 to 4 exercises, and then keep the lower body volume, lifting volume low. And then we're obviously running all the time. We're doing a ton of jumping, a lot of prowler work. We do that every week. So that's kind of how we do that. So, all right, Vincent writes, I just lost my, God, I'm horrible at losing space here. He says, read or listen to Jeremy Renner's autobiography. It altered the way I see rehab and pain. Seriously, read, listen to it. I will. That's awesome. Jeremy Renner. Oh my God, he was good in, he's good in just about everything he's in. But I loved him in The Town. Hurt Locker, even though it's not real. Well, no movies are really real. So anyway, all right, here we go. Curtis writes, hey, big fan, Jim. Well, I'm a big fan of you, Curtis. Curtis Mateus, you sound like you're just massive for some reason. Says, thank you for doing these live Q&As. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. I'm just curious on your thoughts on using sandbags for training and what movements would you recommend? How would you program them? Thank you. So I think they're fine for assistance work. I wouldn't make my whole training program about sandbags unless that's all I had. So today we're going to use them. Zach is going to use them. He's going to have a weight vest on. We're going to do, we just pick it up and put it on our shoulder. Beep. And then we're going to do stacking on the shoulder, and we're going to do step ups. So now I know there's like a million things guys do, like the clean and press, and that's fine. But this has been my experience. We always try to strength train and be awesome with our barbells, and then you can pepper in the assistance with whatever you want. If that's body weight, if that's machines, if that's sandbags, if that's kettlebells, if that's just like normal bodybuilding style stuff, I don't think it matters that much as long as you do it and do it hard. So, but I would, the way that we would program that in, because I run a lot of Cryptea stuff with the athletes I coach one-on-one, that would be used on a bench or a press day, okay? And that would be used as the one of the lower body assistance exercises on a bench or press day. That's how I would do it. So, but yeah, have some fun, man. Listen, like, keep the main lift strong, fast, awesome. Enjoy your assistance and be creative with your assistance. Gooner says, damn, it's been a week since I tuned in last. Where the sausage roll is time going? I don't know. Dude, I feel like I'm still in high school. I'm 50 years old. It's crazy. All right, here we go. Spence is killing me. Sue Spence is killing me. He said, what's up, Jim? Nothing. Having a great day today. Any experience with conditioning team athletes where some players are severely overweight but all train as a team? Yep. Both London and our squad have lots of two-way guys. Thanks. So depends on the kid, but a lot of times if they're severely overweight, I'll have them walk up and down the stadium stairs, taking 2 at a time. That's number 1. Number 2 is we use the prowler once a week, so they can go ahead and do that. And that's super easy on the body, so that takes care of 2 days. The other thing we will do is if we're doing 50s or 100s, they're expected to do all of them, but if they have to walk it, that's fine, okay? Now, so that's 3 things that are super easy, right? Stadiums, even if they're just walking, we just spend time. They got to spend 30 minutes over there or whatever it is, and just smoke themselves. Easy on the knees, and you don't have to run. The prowler, super easy on your knees, right? You can use a sled too. And, of course, they'll be running. But again, that's not going to hurt their joints at all. And number 3 is they're going to have to, listen, if they're on a football team, like even if they're overweight, they're going to have to learn how to run. There's no 2 ways around that. So that's the other thing is, so they're allowed to walk. And obviously early on, it's going to be bad, right? They're going to walk most of them, and then they're going to start running 10 to 20 yards and then walk. And eventually they'll be able to walk 30 to 40, run 30 to 40 yards and walk, and they're just going to get better and better. But the number 1 thing is you have to, and I know this is, God forbid someone say this, you're going to have to talk to them about their diet. All right. And a lot of times they're not feeding themselves, right? Their parents are. So you're going to have to explain to them, like, listen, that weight loss is, not going to come from what we do here. It's going to come from making better decisions in your house. And so you have to talk to them, and you have to be open. Like I'm not going to like shame a kid because he's overweight, but I'm not going to bullshit him either. Oh, you look great. Like, listen, dude, if you want to play, this is what I would recommend you do, and let them be in charge, because you can't hold their hand with everything, and you lying to them is the dumbest fucking thing you could ever do. All right, doesn't mean you have to be mean when you say this stuff to people, but like, listen, if you're interested in playing and want to get healthier, this is what I would recommend you do. And then you keep on. I ask, like, how are things going? Are you doing all right? Are you making smart decisions? And, you know, obviously they say, oh yeah, but at least it gets them in their mind that they're making good decisions. So that's how we do the conditioning stuff. All right, here we go. Ivan says, hello, Mr. Wendler, or hi. I'm not overweight by any means, but I carry maybe 5 kilograms of extra fat around the waist, lower back, chest. Do you think I should work on this, or is it okay to be slightly soft? Listen, Ivan, that's up to you, man. I'm not gonna shame you into thinking that you have to have a 6-pack or anything stupid like that. Ivan, the most important thing is, or 2 things, is 1, you're able to physically kick ass and do whatever you need to do. That's number 1, okay? And number 2 is, like, you feel okay with how you look. All right. So what that is, I don't know. When I was playing football and stuff, especially when I was in high school, I was like super lean. When I went and played fullback, I was carrying some extra weight. It didn't bother me at all. I didn't ever take off my shirt or anything. I didn't care. I was playing college football. I was playing for my level. What I was, my talent level, I was exceeding where I should have been. Didn't care because I was doing awesome shit. I heard a funny little quip from John McPhee. You guys probably, a lot of guys know who John McPhee is. If you don't know, he was a Delta guy. He always laughed. He's like, I always had a dad bod. Do you think John McPhee gives 2 shits? He was out there fucking blasting dudes all the time. Not gay-wise, but, you know, killing. He was the highest level of Tier 1 operator. So as long as you're able to physically do everything you want to do and do it at what you believe is a high level, I really wouldn't worry about it. And again, unless you're like, feel bad about the way you look, who cares? All right. Spencer Mills says, do you perform the Agile 8 and jumps and throws prior to Walrus? I do occasionally. When I was doing it, I would always do some kind of mobility and warm-up. I have like 5 or 6 different mobility things and warm-ups that I do. So do I perform the Agile 8? Sometimes, and other times it would be something else. Do I do jumps and throws prior to Walrus? Probably once or twice a week I will. You don't have to, whatever you want to do, but that's what I did. Squat RX says the trap bar and having 3 training weights for the group is a nugget. Thank you. You can read all about how we structure our trap bar training on the Jim Wendler forum. It's a private forum, $5 a month. So it just makes things much easier, so we don't have to change a million weights, because we have like 60 kids in that weight room at one time. And I cannot if we got a group of 4 kids at one trap bar, I only need 1 weight for each of the kids. I don't need 3, because it ends up getting super confusing. So we have deadlift groups, and that allows kids to train, change weights and train with kids who are stronger or weaker with them. So there's a whole system that I've worked out. Me and Matt Rhodes did that. So Brandon says, I've been messing around with a program I've come up with, 3-week waves of hypertrophy, speed work with bands, and 5 through 1 OG in that order. Should I change the rotation in your opinion? No, man, I don't know. I'd have to play around with that. But I think that's good, right? Go ahead and knock it out. I'm not sure. So 3-week waves. So we have 1 week is hypertrophy, 1 week speed work, 1 week. Hey, if that worked, if you think if you'd have to have some kind of indicator goal. So I don't know what that would be. So if something's working well, man, just go ahead and let it rip. Your different lifts will each lift will respond differently with that stuff, though. So just so you know that. Elo says, no question, just sharing that the Boring But Big at 5s Pro using the 351 and FSL weight is the best lower body training I've experienced. It feels like I'm wasting time when I do any other programming. Thanks, boss. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. It's, you know what the most important thing is, man? You found something that works. That's awesome. And it's not that you want to do and you believe in, so. AMG says, is it optimal to take my accessory sets to failure on 5 through 1? Yeah, I don't think people get really weird about that. Like they're going to go into some massive overtraining state if they do a set of dumbbell presses to failure. You'll be fine. We do it all the time. I did it all the time. You got to learn how to work hard, people. So yes, you'll be fine. Brandon says, I was using the hypertrophy block as my deload, completely taking barbell out of my hands, and it felt pretty good. I've been doing 5 through 1 for 12 plus months now. That's awesome. Hey, Brandon, listen, the most important thing is you start training with a specific program. You do it as is. As you get more experienced and understand training, man, go ahead and throw some different shit in there, man. 100%. That's where the fun is. The washed up athlete says, thanks, Jim. One more question. I was wondering if you've come up with a 5-3-1 way of progressing jumps. My goal is to jump 40. I was wondering if there's a way to program jumps to minimize injury. I haven't. I mean, I guess you can adjust the volume, right? Or you can adjust the height. So as an example, your 3x5 week might be 30 inches jump for 30 jumps total, right? 30 contacts. Your 3x3 week might be 35 and 20 total contacts. Hold on, 30, 35, and then maybe, maybe 38, I don't know. You're going to have 3 different heights and 3 different volume measures. I should probably do something. So let's say 28 for 30, 32 for 20, and 36 for maybe 10 to 15. So maybe you can try something like that. I don't really program the jumps. I let the kids do whatever they want. I give them some ideas of doing some different things and having some fun. But the most important thing for me is that the kids just learn how to jump and learn how to land. That's the most important thing. And then obviously when the kids get better, some of those kids can just absolutely fly. And so if they feel good, let's go ahead and try it. But the number one thing I tell the younger kids is don't miss. I don't want anyone missing doing anything done. So, but again, that's like, it gets bananas in there, man. You got 60 kids all jumping around doing crazy shit. Oh my God. Tim says, great answer, Jim. That's exactly what I'm doing. What you said, and I feel great. I know it's a long-range goal of getting stronger, and I'm good with that. Thank you for your time and answering my question. Not a problem, Tim. I appreciate it. My good broheim, Joey Waters, tells everyone to go buy Scour. That's a band. Their new album is called Gold, or their newest album. Unbelievable album. It's in my truck. I've been listening to that and an old Gorgoroth album back and forth. But for those that don't know, Scour is the newest black metal band from the singers Phil Anselmo. Unbelievable band. I always liken Scour to like the Nails version of black metal. If you know Scour and know Nails, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it's an unbelievable record. It is absolutely punishing, and I think the vocal and guitar melodies are unbelievable. So, and it is in and out in every song, thus the Nails reference. So, all right, so Andy Lynn said, hey, when I went heavier on the main movement than scheduled, and then I ended up not being able to do as much assistance or supplemental movement as last week, like just burned. Hope it makes sense. Okay. Now listen, Andy, if you're going heavier on the main movement, the supplemental movement's going to be compromised. The assistance really shouldn't be compromised unless you have an absolute barn burner of a main lift. All right. If I was training you, I would GPP the shit out of you in the weight room. And just bring up your general level of fitness. That shouldn't affect you that much, especially with stuff like chin-ups and ab work and stuff like that. So that's what I would probably do. I would keep your training maxes solid, and I would just get your body physically better. Just raise up that general physical preparedness. So, but listen, if that's, I don't know. Like, you can do what you want, Andy. I'm not here to make you feel bad, but that's what I see. That's what I would do. And it doesn't take long to do that. Zach says, Walrus workout on Monday. He did 10 rounds of 20 overhead walking lunges. I think that's what that means. With 50-pound dumbbells overhead. 10 dips and 5 chin-ups with a 20-pound vest. So 10 rounds. I think that says 20 overhead walking lunges. So all right, 10 dips. Yeah, it was dead. That's a hell of a workout, dude. Especially with the lunges. Dude, lunges kick my ass. Oh, I'm such a pussy with lunges. Suck. Vincent writes, my good friend Vincent, not having and following everything that is written is incredible advice. It's hard for many of us to go off script. I have been having more fun and more success with training as a result. Listen, I don't know how it's. Imagine like when my mom makes cookies, she doesn't measure a fucking thing. When she makes anything, she rarely measures anything. Okay, because she's been doing it since she's been a kid. When I make anything, I mean everything is measured perfectly, and I suck at it because I don't have that experience. Once you guys get that experience in training, don't be afraid to go off book a little bit, as long as it's reasonable. And it doesn't always have to be reasonable, guys. All right. Again, what I do with the kids I train in that garage or even at the school, we always have the steak or the steak and the chicken. We had the protein, the main lift. We always make sure that's good. And even then, if something goes to shit, we will back off. But that is the main thing. Anything after that, man, let's have some fun. Sometimes it's real basic and boring. Kids aren't ready for it. Other times, fuck it. You know what, guys? We got this, and this. And then, hey, if you guys want, we're going to have a push-up contest at some time. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, my God. Now everyone's pumped up doing crazy shit. On Wednesday, we had a little different training this week. On Wednesday, the kids had a press contest. Just for no reason at all. And a group of them had a dumbbell squat contest, too. It was awesome, man. You know, just having fun. Because we didn't do sets of 6 or 10 or whatever. Man, fuck it. I had kids doing sets of like 30 the other day. Just to see what you can do. Oh, no, we did sets of 30. Oh, our hypertrophy is not. Gotta do 6 to 12. All right, here we go. I'm just talking out of my ass here. HH, capital and little h, says, Yo, Jimbo, huge fan. Is there any difference or benefits that would tilt you to do barbell deadlifts over the trap bar? No. And the only obvious thing would be if you're a power lifter. Okay? That is, if you're powerlifting and you have to barbell deadlift. There's no two ways around it. Okay? In the big picture, I don't think it matters that much unless you have, again, a specific goal or a powerlifting. I just don't think it matters that much. And I've always said this. If you trap bar deadlift 900 pounds, no one's going to say that you're weak. All right. It's a huge pull. Or if you trap bar 700, okay, it doesn't make your lift less. It's just different. And I think you're pulling off the floor, you'll be fine. I don't think it's a big deal. People love, I call it splitting pubes. All right. And the more that I do this stuff and the more I work with just general athletes trying to raise their GPP, a lot of that stuff that I thought mattered doesn't matter. All right. The most important thing is we just get them physically better. If you want to use a deadlift or a trap bar, fine. Not a big deal. Let's roll with it. So. All right, here we go. Besides the Smith machine, what machines can work as a replacement for the barbell bench press? Obviously, any like hammer strength machine, right? The incline, or there's the regular bench press machine. You could try that. I'm not sure if you mean just the bench press. We use push-ups. Like if a kid hurts his shoulder, a lot of times he can't bench, but he can do push-ups. We'll do push-ups, weighted push-ups, either with chains, with obviously a weight vest, with bands. You can put plates on the back. You can go ahead and do that. I'm trying to think of anything else. And obviously any kind of pressing with the barbell, right? Overhead press, incline, 45, 60. Football bar would be great too. When Zach had his shoulder injury, we used the the football bar. You can use floor press. So, but you said machines. I would use any hammer strength machine too. I think those things are awesome. Vincent writes, how many conversations did you guys at Westside have about reps in reserve? It wasn't even an issue. Somehow, you guys aren't going to believe this, I totaled 2375 without having reps in reserve. Doesn't mean it's bad, guys, but don't stress about some of this shit. All right? You're going to have to, listen, you're going to have to eat some protein. You're going to have to sweat. Put in some sweat equity, guys. There's no two ways around it. People calling me. All right. Cursive Q says, what is your firework haul looking like this year? I don't do anything with fireworks. I just don't care about that. I'll be completely honest. So we have fireworks this year here in London. We always have them, but I think they're tonight. Woo! Our cats go bananas. Oh, I feel like they're going to die hiding, going nuts. So, all right, here we go. I got to get rolling here, so let's get through. Ivan says, I'm not seeing progress on pull-up assistance. I always end up doing 3 sets of around 10 reps twice a week, week after week. Well, I can tell you why. Should I push to failure on each set like I do now or do sub-maximal sets? Man, listen, you got to hit the sub-max sets. We always do. Part of our warm-up at London is we have to do pull-ups. We have like 4 or 5 exercises they do when they come in. We do sets of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. If I were you, Ivan, if you really want to bump up your pull-ups on days that you, on bench day, press day, deadlift day, squat day, in between every single set that you do during that workout, assistance and main lift, do a set 1, 2, or 3 pull-ups. Change your grip. Do a lot of parallel grip. Obviously, that's going to keep the stress down on your elbows. So let's say you do warm-up and the squat work, and then 2 or 3 assistance exercises. Let's say you're doing 25 sets. You're doing 25 sets of 1, 2, or 3 sets of pull-ups. Do that for a while, man. That's what I would do, at least twice a week, though. But yeah, you're not going to get much progress if you're just doing the same thing over and over again. All right, you're going to have to bump that stuff up with the assistance. So with the pull-ups, I mean. Andy Lynn says, you don't make me feel bad at all. It's the chin-up bar reminding me that I'm weak, fat, and out of shape. I know. Dude, the chin-up is one of the greatest indicators. It is honest. Joshua Christian says, hey, Jim, my deadlift, squat, and military press are making gains, although my bench is lacking. Is this due to incorrect accessory work or genetics? Any tips would be awesome. Well, first of all, not everything is going to go up at the same time, right? Everyone knows that. You're going to have ebbs and flows with all the lifts. I look at this and think, dude, 75% of your training's awesome. I'd be incredibly thankful for that. Is your bench lacking? Is this due to incorrect assessment? I have no idea why your bench is lacking, but I will say this. You're going to have to put some muscle on that upper body, guys. If you're a raw bench presser, which I assume everyone is, you're going to have to look like a bodybuilder, all right? So too many people try to power lift their bench and their press before they bodybuild their bench and their press. That doesn't mean with the bench press itself, like you're always doing high reps. You can do whatever you want, but you don't need to be peaking. I always say stop trying to peak a 225 bench and then start pushing that assistance work. Get big arms, get giant shoulders and a big chest. You're going to have to get a big chest. Obviously, upper back and lats are going to come into play. Like, what do your forearms look like? You got to have like giant forearms. So all that stuff needs to be done. But again, stop trying to power lift if you don't have the muscle. You're gonna have to put some muscle on that body, especially with the bench and the press. All right. And the other thing, Joshua, man, be thankful. All right, because at some point, one of those lifts is gonna take a dump and your bench is gonna go up. It is very rare that all the lifts will come up at the same time. Very rare. So it's just the way it goes. And hell, maybe your military press is, if that goes down, your bench will go up. I don't know. Listen, there's no rhyme or reason to a lot of stuff with the short-term stuff with training. It'll drive you bananas. The most important thing is you keep pushing forward. You can get frustrated, but don't go get frustrated to the point of not doing anything. All right, that's the most important thing. And make sure you're eating, man. You're gonna have to get some dude food in you. Zach says, hey, I just used one. Okay, so Zach did the walrus workout. He used 150 pound dumbbell for the lunges. Just finished week 5 of walrus and just bumped up my main workout of 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, and 150 squats to 60, 120, and 180. All right, just be, Zach, that's awesome. Just make sure that you can handle that and you feel good. All right, just super important that you understand that. All right, let's see here. Brandon says, I've been using bar speed as an indicator while doing 5-3-1. If it isn't moving the way I want, I stay at my current training max until it moves awesome on my 5-3-1 week. That's great. That's great. Listen, your final reps aren't always going to be great, guys. But you got to, the first, let's say on your final set, those first, let's say you're going to do 10 reps, those first 5 got to be awesome. And then you have to continually push as fast as you can on those reps. Yes, they're going to slow down. That's fine. Jim Perry says, good morning, Jim. What are your thoughts on Mike Mentzer's high intensity, low volume, all out sets to failure? I think it works for a short amount of time. I don't think it's a long-term solution to training. That's my opinion. I just think it's very difficult to do. And since the thing that I really like to push is raising the general physical preparedness, I think you need to do more work. And then most of the people that I work with are athletes or do stuff outside. I don't think having that that style of training lends itself to being, going out and running, biking, playing sports and stuff like that, especially during times of high skill involvement. So that's, but man, if that's what gets you going and you love to do it, it's obviously worked for a lot of people. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It's not bad in small doses, whether that's 3, 4, 6 weeks or something like that. I think it'd be fun to do with some assistance. I just don't know you should structure your entire training program and training life around that. I just think it's very limiting. So we got to get going here, boys. I got to get going. I got stuff to do. Oh, good job, guys. Way to come in all quiet. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. As always, this weekend, do something stupid. Be smart, but push yourself mentally and physically. Thank you for showing up. Thank you. Tons of questions today. Some great questions. I appreciate it. Later.